just revisiting what is on the Daily Nation. ODM warns DP on Raila insults in Kibra. Like I said, some ODM MPs have warned Deputy President William Ruto against dragging the name of party leader Raila Odinga into the Kibra by-election campaigns. The MPs accused the DP of trying to provoke residents to respond to the attacks on Mr. Odinga through chaos and violence, which they alleged he thrives in. And now this appears like what I said, sort of like a proxy wars. But it's apparent that this is war. I mean, this is sort of like a competition between the deputy president and ODM leader Raila Odinga. And let's just to remind our viewers that unfortunately Dr. Otiende Amolo has left, so there's no one to represent the ODM stake here.
Yeah, yeah. And you need to explain that he had an urgent appointment to catch. Otherwise,
yes, had an appointment, definitely.
The stories out there will be like he chickened out of.
No, indeed. He was attending on an urgent appointment.
You know, actually what Zainab did is that he gave Otiende the chance to respond to this issue. And I never rebutted. So it's unfortunate that I'm rebutting when Otiende is not
What
here.
did he say?
But of course, trying to justify the report. First of all, the best person to speak to this issue is Boni Halwale. Because you know him, I think they were with the deputy president in this function. I cannot imagine that the reports I read, because this story was carried, these ODM MPs were reacting to a story that was run by the Standard yesterday, that the DP had made certain comments about the former prime minister. I don't know how accurate that reporting is, and Boni Halwale, you'd be telling us about it. But I expected Otiende, being the good gentleman that he is, to first tell us what excuse ODM has for the kind of insults that have been spewing, not just in Kibra, but we saw the same in Ugenya, we saw the same in Embakasi. Each and every gathering of the ODM, any particular member of parliament that rises to speak, their pet issue is none other than DP William Ruto. Therefore, why are they pretending all of a sudden to be the ones who've been wronged, while it is them who every particular gathering, even this particular rally that they had last week, I saw very, savage language from even someone who's supposed to be held in high regard, a senior politician, somebody who's in the leadership of parliament like Mbadi, the ODM chairman. I saw the kind of things he was speaking. And you'd wonder, is this the culture of ODM? Is this what is expected of them? I expect them to go to Kibra and address issues, not to raise the kind of fake stories that they are raising about the deputy president, about Mariga. You know, since when did it become a constitutional requirement that you have to live in a particular place to represent that particular area? All these Nairobi MPs have their rural homes, but they have been granted an opportunity to represent people in this town. So I do not think their crying and their mourning is justified. ODM should be the last party to cry about being unjustifiably criticized. You have seen even what Sifuna is doing to the rest of NASA affiliate parties. Of course, I'd wish that he does it more, because it is to our advantage when they continue to disintegrate. And the more he abuses Musalia Mudavadi, it works to our advantage. So carry on, Sifuna. And please, ODM, if there's a plea that I want to make, is maintain Sifuna as your SG, at least up to 2022. We really appreciate the services he's doing.
Dr. Boni.
It's very unfortunate. Members of the public should just make an attempt. And remember that in the by-election of Kibera, up to now, the deputy president has never set his foot there. Not once. He has not. But there is a deliberate effort by the Orange Democratic Movement to try and pull the deputy president into Kibera so that they create a contest between the deputy president and the former prime minister. For God's sake, we will not take that invitation. The fight in Kibra is between the contestants. And what's more, this reporting in today's papers is again a report that confirms that these are people who now want to drag tribalism into the by-election in Kibera. Why do I say this? Allow me, because members of the public maybe don't have this paper. The members of parliament who are issuing these threats are the following.
Wait, that's which paper? This
It is on page 6
Daily Nation?
of
No,
the
no,
Star.
the Star.
This the Star, all right.
Yes, on page 6 of the Star, the members of parliament who are issuing these threats are John Mbadi from Homa Bay, Opio Andai from Ugunja, Siaya, Jayet Okello from Nyando, Kisumu, James Nyikal from
Kisumu.
Seme, Kisumu, Mark Nyamita Uriri in Migori, James Koyo Mohoroni, Kisumu, and Homa Bay woman MP Gladys Wanga. None of them comes from Nairobi. And they come
But
from
they
a
are
pat-
part
yeah,
of
can I?
ODM.
Can I? They come from a specific ethnic community. And the war drums they are making is meant to be listened to probably by goons from a specific ethnic community.
Yeah.
Now, go to the flip side. When Mariga was in Kibra in his rally on Sunday, who accompanied him? There were Nairobi MCS
Nairobi MPs.
and Nairobi MPs. In fact, specifically, it was the Nairobi woman MP does not come from the same ethnic community with Mariga. There was not Nixon Korir. Korir does not come from Mariga's ethnic community.
KJ.
Then there was MP of
Dagoretti,
Dagoretti
KJ.
South and the area MCS. There was no single member of parliament from Mariga's community on that day in Kibra. So they should give the people of Kibra a break. The people of Kibra know their communities. All that they are waiting for is to get an MP who will fix their youth for jobs, who will fix their water problem, who is going to fix the problem of collection of waste, and who will fix their challenges on housing.
Right.
This thing of wanting to make the by-election of Kibra a contest between Raila and Ruto is an attempt for them to whip ethnic emotions so that they do ethnic mobilization. This must stop.
How so when both the leaders are definitely speaking on the same? And look, agree with me on this one. On
Yeah.
the Daily Nation it says, so the DP was on Sunday reported to have said that he would lead campaigns in Kibra to ensure that Jubilee's candidate McDonald Mariga wins the parliamentary seat, accusing past leaders of the constituency of doing little and leaving the area to wallow in abject poverty.
Yes,
fair
I happen
criticism.
to have been in that function. In fact, I couldn't agree more with that report.
So when you have the
In
deputy
fact- in
president
fact,
coming to
he-
lead the campaigns, what does that show?
He's going to lead, but they were saying he has already come to Kibra. He hasn't. In fact, when the deputy president said that, and I wouldn't agree with him more, he said that President Uhuru Kenyatta has endorsed Mariga as the party leader of Jubilee. And Raila has endorsed his candidate as the party leader of ODM. So the deputy president said, I'm going to make sure that our candidate gets the support from me following the endorsement by the President of the Republic of Kenya. And then when he said that the constituency is wallowing in all those bad things that you have just read, what you should be asking, is it true that the constituency is going through those difficult times or not? The answer is yes. And for your information, as somebody who has controlled CDF for many years, I cannot forgive Raila Odinga. Because when I was controlling CDF in Ekolomani, he was controlling CDF in Kibra. Why didn't he do the things that I've done in Ekolomani for Kibra? In fact, the toilets that are today in Kibra were constructed when Waiguru was Minister for Devolution. And
Roads.
to get, and those roads, and to get those things fixed, the late Ken Okoth used to go and work with Jubilee at night. Because during the day, he would be seen by ODM and he would be disciplined. So it's better the people of Kibra get an MP who doesn't work with the government at night alone, but gets an MP who works with the government at night and during the day. Yes.
All right.
There's just something,
Yes, Senator.
please, Zainab. There's something very fundamental about this statement that I wouldn't wish that it gets lost in the politics. This culture of ODM, where they believe that violence is a solution, you know, to anybody who you don't agree with their assertions about you. You know, politics world over is a game of intellect. It is about taking on each other in terms of ideas. Sometimes people make very harsh criticism about us who are leaders, and it's the natural thing to do once you're in politics. It's how it functions world over. But when ODM MPs, 10 of them, sit down and issue a statement where they say, we are warning the deputy president of trouble and chaos. If it should never be allowed, and it should not be let to lie easy, because this country has suffered political violence countless times, and therefore it cannot be okay that anybody who holds a contrary view to yours, the only thing that you can threaten them with is to unleash violence on them. You know, I see the same discussion even around this topic of the handshake and BBI, that you are told, please don't criticize it because it brought us peace. But the question that I ask is, who brought violence in the first place before we discuss about peace? How then, how did we make it to be okay as a country that even if you agree with the results of a political process, that violence become the alternative? We should learn from mature democracies how they practice their politics. The same sentiments that say ODM or NASA have about the past presidential election, we see them all over the world. We see them even in, take America as an example, that in the 2016 presidential election, the losing candidate Hillary Clinton had very serious issues that she raised about how that vote was conducted. But we never saw her resort to violence. We never saw her issue threats and say, oh, this country will be ungovernable, that no Hillary Clinton, no peace.
Right.
This is a culture that we shouldn't allow ODM to get away with. The threat of violence because of political competition is not anything that should be encouraged. And it's a shame that leaders of this particular political party wants to make it to be our culture. We should get to a point, Zainab, where I can disagree with you, but still be civil while at it.
You might misconstrue, I don't know, maybe I am wrong, but according to what the report says, so the lawmakers claimed, and maybe this is just for clarification, claimed that DP Ruto is not focused on the mini poll, but is looking for chaos, violence, and war, pointing out that the insults directed to Mr. Odinga.
First
Anyway,
of all, it's not true that he has insulted the Prime Minister, because I haven't seen anywhere. And these members of parliament should show us any video of the DP insulting Raila. Like we have videos of them, these same ODM MPs insulting the DP. But just to flip the argument, to give sense to what I'm trying to say, assuming it was right and it was true that the DP insulted Raila, is violence the solution? It cannot be. That's what I'm just simply trying to argue and say. If somebody insults you, then there are mechanisms of addressing it.
Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but they are saying they do not want war, but they are alluding to the fact that there could be.
So what will create war?
You know, I insist that the attempt by these members of parliament from one ethnic community in Kibra, people who do not come from Nairobi, although it is their right to campaign anywhere, it was an attempt at ethnic mobilization. That's all. It's nothing else. You see, the words that were used by the deputy president in my presence, in my backyard over the weekend, had no insult in them. It was issue-based. So they needed to respond by saying that, no, you are lying. The following development was done by the former prime minister when he was the MP for Kibra.
Okay.
And not to attempt to tell the people that they are going to visit the campaign with violence. It's wrong.
All right. Listen to this. So you have a section of Jubilee MPs, the Cheruiyot team, headed by Maina Kamanda, nominated member of parliament, says he's going to support Imran Okoth. You have Shebesh the other day, video is out, saying, you know, we know how muliingiza Mariga nyuma with using the back door. And so this is also creating, you know, the idea that definitely things are not right within Jubilee, right?
By the way, it's good that you brought that up for discussion. Remember what I was saying earlier about the current cabinet being so lost into politics that they have lost the sense of service that they are supposed to offer to Wananchi. The Rachel Shebesh that you've just referred to, she heads a very critical government organ that is in charge with implementing youth policy, ensuring that girls in our schools are properly taken care of. But all she finds time for is one, you see her at embrace rallies, and two, at night in oathing ceremonies for, banned groups. And this is really troubling. And that's what I was alluding to, that I think the presidency has lost control of the cabinet, where you have members of cabinet speak the way I saw Shebesh speaking, and to the people that he was addressing, keeping the company that he was keeping.
But what does that show? What does that show within Jubilee?
That cannot be allowed to be okay. Of course, it shows that there's a problem. That's what I'm accepting. That for sure, indeed, there's a problem. You know, when you have that level of people playing the kind of games that the CAS in charge of youth affairs leaves all the youths in the country, but wants to go and associate with a proscribed group, that tells you something about what is going on. And it's really unfortunate. In any civilized country, Shebesh should have resigned the minute that video went out.
Dr. Boni.
What would you add? It is the same Embrace group that has been moving around telling members of the public they are fighting the deputy president and the so-called Tanga side of Jubilee because they are defying the president's desire that politics should not take the front row in the events of the country. And yet, she's the one who is doing brisk politics. For your information, we had 6 stoppages over the weekend with the deputy president. And at none of that function was there political activity. All we were doing, he was either opening projects, or not opening schools that had been built by the government in Bungoma, or he was empowering women in Vihiga, or he was empowering the clergy when we went to Kapsiret and so on, all development issues. So why then should focus be on him who is pursuing matters development and not on poor Shebesh, who is in brisk politics?
Someone is saying just before you comment, Senator, that this is uchokozi. By fielding a candidate and going to campaign with it at Kibra, ni uchokozi.
Uchokozi? I thought Kibra is part of Kenya. And Kenya is a democratic country, to the best of my knowledge. That's why anybody is allowed to run at any particular. But the thing that keeps on bothering me is, why has ODM panicked this much? Maybe there's something they know about this Kibra that they didn't want it to be brought to fore. And now that Jubilee has a candidate and all these other political parties, people are going to have a political discourse about Kibra, and they feel that it badly exposes them. But coming back to the earlier issue, I saw Shebesh and Commander trying to say, oh, they speak for Jubilee. But then I couldn't help but laugh and scoff at it and say, excuse me, Shebesh and Commander, you are political rejects that Kenyans, Jubilee supporters actually so not fit to represent them. Therefore, you cannot purport to be speaking on behalf of Jubilee supporters. I think Jubilee supporters have got their elected representatives through whom they can speak, not them who try to claim and purport that they are owners of Jubilee.
All right.
And just commenting on that issue of uchokozi, of bringing Mariga in Kibra, and the so-called Mariga not being a voter in Kibra, how quickly they forget. Senator Moses Kajwang was living in Uganda, and when the brother died, the guy was not a voter in Homa Bay. And he came, the guy had registered as a voter in Waraka. He came and contested in Homa Bay, and he became the senator. He's today the senator. There was nothing wrong with that. But young Mariga, because he was playing in Milan, during the time of registration, that did not find him here because the diaspora registration desk is not in Italy. I think it is only in East Africa. Cheruiyot reminded me. It's only in East Africa. So the poor young man could not register. So when he developed political interest, he did the right thing and registered in Nairobi.
All right.
So what uchokozi are they talking about?
Right.
Or are they suggesting that, or rather, are they confirming what we heard somebody say, that is Raila's bedroom?
Well,
I mean, if it is his bedroom,
I think we will
then we should be worried about how they maintain their bedroom.
Let's
how
leave
can
that
you
space
leave your bedroom to be so untidy?
For a reply from the ODM side as well. We hopefully will be getting a reply from the same. And you know, some people here now on social media saying we're not being fair because there is no ODM guy to come to the defense.
They can respond online.